much, Henrik. So, you're the Minister for Public Administration.
Yes.
How does that connect to digitization?
Very much. A few people know what public administration really is and what does a Minister for Public Administration. And during this period of mandate, the area, the field of digitalization is also included in the responsibility for public administration. And they are very well connected, those two questions, because from my perspective, that digitalization is far behind, especially in the public sector. And if Sweden's gonna be competitive in the future, and if we're gonna manage our responsibility for the welfare sector, we need to step up, to speed up the digitalization also in the public sector, to be more efficient and to be able to deliver higher quality in public services.
So essentially you're responsible for how Sweden functions in the future?
Yes, I am.
Good.
So I'm very important. In Swedish, the title is Civil Minister, but I have nothing to do with civil defense or civil organizations. But that's a very strange title. Public administration says more about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Sorry for my voice. It's something with the pollen, I think. So.
Yeah, we discussed that earlier. There's probably more pollen in the air right now.
Yes.
So, laying that foundation, Erik, that you're kind of thinking about how Sweden can be run more efficiently, better in the future, using data, AI, and digitization. If you think 20 years into the future, if we've successfully adopted AI, we're using data, how do you see Sweden being run differently if you think from a public servant perspective, but also from a citizen perspective? What are the big differences you imagine?
That is a very good and quite big question, and what I am thinking about now won't probably be the reality within 20 years because the development is going so fastly at the moment. So I'm really sorry for this. I will try to manage. So there are studies showing that there is a potential of growing the Swedish GDP by almost 10%. If we fully implement different AI solutions. Other studies show that the public sector or the public administration can save up to 140 billion crowns by using the full potential of AI. And imagine if we would just use or fulfill a fraction of that amount. That would mean a lot for the financial situation for the public sector. So the potential is enormous. And what I see within 20 years, for example, I see much more of automated decision making. I see much more of picture analysis, to mention one example in the healthcare sector, so we can discover serious diseases in much earlier stage than today. I see more time for human interactions where we can mitigate or decrease the amount of administrative burden, and we can instead focus much more on human interactions. For example, in the social service sector, in the healthcare sector, and to be much more efficient in general, to be able as a public servants to give much more, much faster. To make much faster decisions, more precise decisions, and much earlier and faster than today.
You mentioned the human interaction and the kind of the human part of it. Do you imagine a future where we as citizens have like more human interaction because of the public servants being able to automate a lot of their work, or are we as citizens interacting with AI bots more?
Both of them, actually. And I mean, a lot of people fear that digitalization will let us or make us much more alone, and fear from, well, not fear, and children and the grandchildren, for example. And we also can say if we use the AI solutions to decrease the amount of administration, then we free up much more time for human interactions. I think a doctor today spend, is it 1/5 or 1/4 of his or her working hours on administration today? That is just crazy. If digital solutions, among them AI solutions, could help the doctors to spend less time on administration, then they can be much more together with his patients.
I think it's a good tangible example. I mean, healthcare, everyone has a relationship to healthcare.
Yeah.
Do you have a vision in your head? What would be the difference, the biggest difference from me as a patient or a client, maybe, when I interact with the healthcare in the future, as a result of us using AI and data more and freeing up time and automating workflows?
I hope we will see much more precise analysis on different diseases, so we can protect diseases in a much earlier stage than today. And we have a lot of investigations going on, research and developments going on in the healthcare sector today. So I mean, that process is already ongoing, but we have to upscale and we have to make much more of it. We know that medicine, I mean, also the medicine, how we develop new medical tools and medicine is very much dependent on the AI. So we really see what benefits the AI make in the healthcare sector. I think though that developer and the private business is much better to answer that question more precisely, because they know much more than I do. I see as a minister for digitalization, my responsibility is above other things to create prerequisites, good preconditions, a good condition for AI development when it comes to the regulatory framework, how we can increase the amount of data sharing, for example, how we can finance or increase the collaboration between the private business sector and the public sector, among many other things.
Get it.
But I would maybe, sorry, I just keep on going here now. There are so many good initiatives going on all around Sweden within the public sector. In many municipalities, I can see a lot of AI innovation, and they use AI in different, very tangible areas, such as AI cameras in different vehicles, for example. In another municipality, they decrease the number of falling accidents within the elderly care system by 80%. I mean, that's with one AI system. So what we now need is upscaling. So all those good examples all around Sweden must be upscaled and used and implemented in all, I would say, 290 municipalities. Today, they tend to be stuck in 1 or 2 municipalities, and that is another very important work for me to do.
Is there a clear way to kind of take a moonshot or a star example from one municipality and scale it up across Sweden?
It's not one clear decision. I mean, I would really wish more than anyone else that there would be one decision in the parliament or one law that would fix this problem. It's not. No. We're gonna have to do this step by step, and it's gonna take some time. But we have started that journey now, and very soon we will release a new digitalization strategy. We have the AI Commission that was presented just before Christmas. In the, I don't know if you say the spring budget, it's a Swedish word at least, we invested money in an AI, not a factory, but the AI workshop where the public administration can develop new interoperable AI tools that can be used in all municipalities. But it's very hard for me as a minister to force the municipalities to do this, because we have independence when it comes to the governance of the municipalities. But I also know that almost everyone, maybe all municipalities and regions, want to advance when it comes to the AI development and implementation. But they need help, they need support, they need strategies, and they have to dare to do this as well. Sometimes with conflicts with the labor force and so on. So we need a lot.
Yeah. So we're kind of painting a picture into the future with Sweden. We've been able to collaborate and scale up and build out AI. What would you say the three most important decisions are the coming 3 years that we need to make for Sweden to be able to do that and take that leap forward?
We have to, we know that the data protection today is very strict. I mean, not least the GDPR, and that is a question for the EU to make decisions about. But within the Swedish law, we have a lot of data protection that is an obstacle to share data between different authorities and different levels within the public administration. So we need regulation that permit more data sharing. That is one very important issue, and that we are on that way now as well. I would say a closer cooperation between the public and private, the public sector and the private business sector. And then we have the program Advanced Digitalization. Maybe some of you are involved in that project here in the audience, where we have, I think, 3 or 4 doubled the governmental investment to that program. And what would I say more? Yeah. Digital skills as well, because lack of skills, both basic skills, but also more the top level skills, both of them are very important. So we now to focus on skills as well.
Yeah, probably not lacking in this room.
Yeah, here we have a lot.
Yeah.
But one thing is to implement new AI systems, new AI tools in public sector. But the people who work on the hospital, on the elderly care center, or in the social service, in the social services, they have to be able to use all this new technology. So the technology can't just exist on a working place. We also need the staff to be able to use all these tools. So that is another important thing that we maybe not think about very much, not least in this kind of situation where everyone knows very much about digitalization, but that's not the case in general.
How would you rate the skill level in Parliament?
Oh, that's up to the voters, to elected representatives that knows more about digitalization.
Very good.
That is also a problem, to be honest.
Very good response. So if we flip the question, the choices we need to make, is there like one mistake we could make that would stop us from reaching this future? Is there something we should avoid?
Yeah, we should avoid fear. I see, I don't know a lot of, but fear is maybe one main obstacle to advance in the AI development. There is a lot of fear, let's say, on the labor market, that we will lose a lot of jobs with this development on AI and digitalization. And some people feel fear more from a philosophical perspective. What will AI brings us in the future? Are we needed as human being at all, or will AI robots replace us, for example? So there are some worriness, some fear about this development, and that is maybe one of the main obstacles. Except from the regulatory framework, from old IT systems, from IT systems that are not interoperable, that can't share data between each other because they are stuck in one public procurement that long for 10 other years, for example. There are a lot of details that we see, but we do our best to overcome those obstacles.
Do you have any personal thoughts around how we handle fear and the uncomfortableness about change when it's happening this fast? I mean, previous changes like only internet, at least we had a decade to adopt to it. Now it's like between 2 election cycles, everything has changed.
I would say to talk very much about the upsides, to talk about why, to tell the people, to tell the public why do we need this. I mean, I could choose to focus as a politician on the negative sides, on all the risks with AI. There are risks with AI, and that's why we need to regulate AI. That's why the EU, the European Union, has presented the AI Act, because we have to handle the risks at the same time as we benefit from the positive sides. But as a politician, my role is to really talk about the positive aspects about AI and how that can benefit our societies. And then I have chosen to focus very much on the healthcare or the welfare sector in general, to tell people that using AI can actually save life of people.
Yep.
They can enhance people's life, quality of living. It can make elderly people feel better, to avoid falling in their own homes, for example. I mean, we can just mention a lot of them. Or in the public administration, where you from the municipality can give much quicker answer if you're allowed to extend your house, for example. I think I mentioned a few of them, and if you talk about all those positive aspects and upsides on AI, then I think that the acceptance will be much bigger than otherwise.
Yeah. Again, you mentioned healthcare and the welfare sector, and previously you mentioned like being able to collaborate between research, public sector, and the private sector. Is there any policy that's needed to be able to facilitate that better?
Well, as I told you, we have increased funding on the advanced digitalization, which is a very big collaboration between the public sector and the private sector. We have as I also mentioned before, the AI workshop, which will, of course, involve a lot of private businesses as well. And we have got money from the EU to establish an AI factory, which will be very beneficial for the private sector as well, and that will be established in the University of Linköping. And we also, just before Christmas, presented a new research and R&D bill, where we increase the investments in research and development, among other things, also included the AI and digitalization. So we do a lot from the public sector, yep. And we will do more things. And the AI Commission has 75 proposals. I can't promise to implement all of them, but we are already ongoing. We have already started to implement some of them. So this is a journey that has just started, and I'm very eager to continue, I must say.
I understand. So to round off, I understand, I mean, you have a job, you have many considerations and limitations to think about.
Yes.
But let's say you were a minister for Mark
How many years?
In Canada.
In Canada, oh.
Yeah, you're there. And
that seems a bit tough these days.
Yeah,
I saw the press conference between.
Advise Mark Carney on like, this is what we need to do to increase the AI acceleration. Is there one thing you would say?
It's interesting to see that you mentioned Canada, because Canada was one of the first countries that I visited, because they are such in the front line when it comes to AI development, and they have invested huge of money in research and development on AI solutions. So that was kind of a role model for me. And Canada is quite, I mean, we feel very home when we come to Canada, because we remind of each other culturally and politically, I would say, as well. So, okay, now we should...
Time's up.
So, to answer your question, I always want to answer a question as a politician, as you know.
Damn politicians.
Focus on implementation and tangible benefits from AI. And that's what I think Canada already does, actually.
Really good. Implementation and tangible benefits.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Erik.